the power to shift minds, rewrite rules, and reshape a country. From fearless authors to bold public figures, these are the people who changed the course of American history forever. 1. Thomas Paine. Let's begin. A long time ago in 1776, a man named Thomas Paine changed America with just a little book called Common Sense. But first, let's go back. Paine was born in England in 1737. He didn't have much money and left school when he was only 13. He worked many jobs, but nothing ever seemed to work out. Then one day he met Benjamin Franklin, who told him, "Go to America." So Paine did, and that's where everything changed. Now things got serious. Paine saw that the people in the colonies were unhappy with British rule. They were angry about unfair taxes and being bossed around by a king across the ocean. So Paine wrote Common Sense, a short and powerful book that told Americans they didn't need a king. They could be free and rule themselves. Soon after that, his words spread like wildfire. People read them in homes, in streets, even out loud to crowds. In just a few months, over 100,000 copies were read. Most importantly, Paine's ideas helped people believe in a new America. He fought with George Washington's army, gave his own money to help the war, and never gave up. Thomas Paine used simple words, big ideas, and a brave heart to help start the American Revolution. 2. Harriet Beecher Stowe. Uncle Tom's Cabin, you might have heard of this book. And behind that book was a brave woman named Harriet Beecher Stowe. She wasn't just any writer, she was a hero with a pen. Let's rewind a bit. Harriet was very sad after her baby passed away, and at the same time, a new law said people had to return runaway slaves. That made her heart hurt even more. So she decided to write a story to show how unfair slavery was. She used true stories from people who had been slaves. Soon after that, she wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin. It told the truth about the pain and sadness of slavery. People cried, got angry, and wanted change. In just 1 year, 300,000 copies were sold in America, and even more in other countries. Little by little, Harriet's book helped people understand how wrong slavery was. When she met President Abraham Lincoln, he called her the little woman who wrote the book that started this big war. But her work didn't stop. Harriet also stood up for women's rights. She believed women should have a voice and a vote. All in all, Harriet Beecher Stowe used words, not weapons, to fight injustice and help change the course of American history forever. 3. Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass, a little boy from Maryland, was born into slavery. Years passed quickly. As a young boy, Frederick was sent to live in Baltimore. There, a kind woman secretly taught him the alphabet. That moment changed everything. Frederick learned to read and write even though it was against the law for enslaved people. But trouble came next. Frederick was sent to a cruel man named Covey, who beat him often. One day, Frederick stood up and fought back. That was his turning point. He said it made him feel strong and free inside. Step by step, Frederick planned his escape. Disguised as a sailor, he ran away to the north and became a free man. He married Anna, a brave free woman, and together they fought against slavery. Then came the words. Frederick wrote books about his life and spoke to big crowds. He wanted people to see how wrong slavery was. His voice became loud and powerful across America, and even in Europe. Most importantly of all, Frederick Douglass believed in justice, freedom, and education. He fought for civil rights and women's rights too. He proved that courage and words could change a nation forever. 4. Rachel Carson. Once birds sang sweet songs every spring, but one brave woman feared their songs might disappear forever. Her name was Rachel Carson, and her book, Silent Spring, helped save the world. Many years ago, Rachel loved both writing and science. A teacher encouraged her to study biology, even when it was rare for women to be scientists. She later worked as a government biologist and began writing books. Then something scary happened. People started using strong chemicals like DDT to kill bugs, but these chemicals also hurt birds, animals, and even people. Rachel saw what was happening and decided to speak up. She wrote with power. In 1962, her book Silent Spring warned everyone that if we kept using DDT, birds might vanish and spring would be silent. Some people got angry. Big companies said she was wrong, but many others listened and believed her. Change came quickly. The government studied her work and agreed. Soon, DDT was banned, And in 1970, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, was created. Rachel's voice still echoes. Even after her death, she inspired people to care for the earth. Thanks to her, we now protect nature, and we listen when the birds sing every spring. Upton Sinclair, a young writer, had a big idea. He wanted to show how hard life was for factory workers. But instead, he made people afraid of what was on their plates. It all started in 1904 when Sinclair went to Chicago. He wore old clothes and sneaked into meat factories to see how workers lived. What he saw was awful. Dirty floors, sick workers, spoiled meat mixed with chemicals, and even dead rats. So he wrote a book called The Jungle in 1906. People were shocked. They couldn't believe how gross and unsafe their food was. Sinclair hoped people would care more about poor workers, but instead they wanted safer food. Not only this, the book reached the president. Theodore Roosevelt read it and sent his own inspectors. They said things were even worse than in the book. So Roosevelt pushed Congress to pass laws. However, big changes happened fast. The Meat Inspection Act and the Pure Food and Drug Act were passed in 1906. These laws made food safer and helped start the FDA. Even today, the jungle is still read and remembered. Upton Sinclair wanted change, and he got it, just in a surprising way. 6. James Baldwin. Next up, James Baldwin. He used powerful words like magic to speak truth about race, justice, and love in America. Let's go back to the 1960s. Baldwin stood up to both white conservatives and liberals. One famous moment came in 1965 when he debated William F. Buckley at Oxford University. His voice, calm but strong, told the world how racism hurts everyone, not just in America, but across the world. Then came hard times. After Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed, Baldwin gave an interview to Esquire magazine. He said, "It is not for us to cool it," showing how angry and sad many people were. He saw many problems, like unfair money rules, racism, and people being treated badly for who they love. Baldwin also wrote about the North and South and how people in different places think about race. Overall, Baldwin's books and speeches help people understand fairness and freedom. His words live on, reminding us that change begins with courage and that speaking up can change the world. 7. Betty Friedan. Betty Friedan looked around and asked, "Is this all?" That simple question changed America forever. Let's begin here. Betty was a smart young girl who loved writing and learning. She studied psychology and worked as a reporter. After getting married and becoming a mother, Betty started to notice something big. Many women felt unhappy, even though they were told being a wife and mom should be enough. So, she spoke up. In 1963, Betty wrote The Feminine Mystique. The book became a huge hit and gave a name to the problem that has no name. Millions of women felt seen and ready to take action. After that, Betty helped start the National Organization for Women, NOW. She worked hard for equal jobs, equal pay, and fair rights for women. She also helped change unfair laws about abortion and helped organize a women's strike for equality. Even though some disagreed with her later, Betty never gave up. She believed women could have both careers and families, and that fairness belonged to everyone. Well, thanks to her bold voice, Betty Friedan became the mother of the modern women's rights movement. Her words still inspire people today. 8. Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens. In a tiny town in Missouri, Samuel dreamed big. Later, he picked the name Mark Twain, and with that name, he changed American history. Let's follow his story. After losing his dad at age 12, Twain started working. He became a writer who told bold, funny, and deep stories. Along the way, he wrote Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. These books talked about friendship, freedom, and the wrongs of racism. Even more than that, Twain used jokes and stories to tell hard truths about America. He spoke against slavery and unfair rules. In the end, his words teach us right from wrong. Mark Twain made America think and laugh at the same time. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell us, which author or influencer do you think changed history the most?